Hey guys, Enigmatic Mr. L here. Welcome back to Fire Emblem Eugenics, a series where I take a look at every potential pairing in Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War and rank them from best to worst. This time we're looking at Aaron's kids, Fee, Pegasus Knight, and Ced the Sage. Both of these kids will always have a pursuit from their mother. Ced has Adept as a class skill. Fee gets Adept upon promotion, although a couple of pairings give it to her early. Besides that, Ced could use more magic, and Fee could use more strength. But regardless of what pairing you do, they're going to be both of the kids. I think are going to be fine. I mean, obviously some better pairings are better than others, and that goes like for each kid as well. But even with a physical father, Ced's like base magic as a sage is 15. So just using like bases alone, he can do things like clear out the wyverns in his joining chapter and do say like significant damage to say like Riddell and his army in chapter 10. Talking about personal experience a bit, my playthrough, the one time I used a physical father, yeah, he had no trouble taking on the wyverns in his join chapter, and then in Riddell's forces of chapter 10, he kind of had to rely on adept, but with his pretty good speed, he was fine doing that. Um, as now, Fee could use more strength, but because of like the existence of roads, your cavalry units are gonna like push ahead farther than Fee. She's just kind of assigned to the odd job here and there, maybe that like burning village out of the way. She's gonna have like sufficient strength regardless. Even with like a 25% strength growth, she can like get the things done that you need her to, even if like additional strength might help her in other ways. There are some who would say like Fee works better with a magic parent as well, but because you can use magic swords and enemies outside of mages typically have low resistance. But I just don't really see it that way. Like these are the same people like many would say like, well, yeah, Ced's base magic is 15 with a physical father, but he wants more magic. That's fair. More magic is always helpful on a like magic oriented combat unit. But then the same people will say like 15 is not enough, but then like magic works well with Fee, which even if you give her like a magic pairing, she'll have like two or three base magic, like a 40 something percent growth. We're looking at like 10 magic on average or so, like right before promotion. So it's like zero or two magic with like growing up to 15 is good, but 15 at base is bad. Like, I just don't see it. Anyway, with that kind of ramble out of the way, let's just get on with the list, starting with Alec. Some people place him here. I think some would here. I'm kind of in the middle myself. I think it's all right. Easy to like kind of pair off this pairing because they're both mounted units and keep them close to each other. The stat line that he gives is it's all right. The big draw here is that Alec passes down Nihil, which prevents critical hits. And in this game, effective damage to flyers is treated as a critical hit. So this means Fee will be immune to super effective damage from bows and ballistas. Now, generally, I think it's pretty easy to just keep her out of range of those anyway. You can still find ways to contribute, but not having to worry about them, like get in the middle of the fray, and there's like a bow user or two, or get her near ballistas, and not have to worry about it, just kind of instantly shutting her down if it hits. I mean, that is useful. If there were like more bow presence and it was like more difficult to keep her out of safe, I'd probably bump it up here. I could see niche, but I mean, otherwise the pairing is like fine, and that is a useful thing to have, even if some would consider it just kind of a novelty. Noish, I think, is overall better in this case. The stats that he gives compared to Alec, better strength, defense, and HP, help you meet more certain thresholds than Alec's kind of reliability in luck and skill. Alec does give more speed, but neither of these kids are really going to have trouble doubling enemies. In addition to that, I think Noish has better skills overall. He has critical, which is nice if unreliable, but I think a cost works really well with both of these kids. Once Fee gets promoted, she'll have adept, so both of them have pursuit and adept. You combine that with a cost, they'll just keep striking an enemy until it dies, or at least they'll do like really big damage. Pretty good, solid pairing, helps Fee a lot. But again, Ced, even though he could use more magic, his base magic is going to be like sufficient. So he'll be fine, even though like he could be better. Arden, I mean the stats that he gives Fee are all right. Good, the highest possible strength tied with Jamka. Good defense, HP. Um, she already has Pursuit, so you don't have to worry about Arden's general problem not passing down Pursuit. Um, yeah, it's all right. Vantage isn't really doing much for either of these. I guess it kind of helps Zed a little bit since he always has reliable 1-2 range. If he gets low, could strike first, but not that great. But I mean, it's not terrible. Alec, basically what I mean, not Alec, Azel. Azel, basically what Azel does is he passed down a really solid magic growth to both of the kids, tied with Claude because of the way Holy Blood works. Said will have the highest magic growth with either Azel or Claude, but passing down the highest potential magic growth to Fee. I don't really think that's that impactful for Fee. Seeing magic swords is just kind of like a gimmick. You're dead set on like you want to use like a magic sword user. I think honestly, Azel X Latches is better because the sun's um, the sun's strength stat won't be as hurt as much due to the Holy Blood. Azel's still providing skills, passing down the critical pursuit. So yeah, does help Zed though. Higher base magic for the more tricky opponents to take down. That's helpful. Very high magic can do some things like if he reaches 28 magic and you give him a magic ring, he could use silence on Ishtar in endgame. Now, I think that is a valid contribution, but I don't think it's the end all be all of like what makes like Zed good or whether or not you can silence Ishtar because that's like one contribution at the end of Endgame, ignoring his like contributions at the tail end of Chapter 8, all of Chapter 9, all of Chapter 10, and most of Endgame just for that one use. Plus, you just have other ways of dealing with Ishtar. We'll have to talk about one of them later, but there's that, and if you just attack all of Ishtar's troops, she starts going to like retreat to get reinforcements to block her path. You can shut her down without even like fighting her or silencing her. So there is that. Still all right. Good magic on Zed. I'm not going to complain about that, but doesn't really do much for Fee. High magic stat, but that's not cutting it really. Lex is pretty good. I think this is the best overall pairing for Fee in particular. Gives her really good HP and defense, like the highest that Lex always provides. Very solid strength. And of course, Paragon is really good for any unit that needs promote, get up to promotion faster. Zed doesn't really care about it. He's already promoted, but I mean, it doesn't hurt. And the extra defense and bulk, I mean, I'd rather, he could probably benefit more from like additional speed, additional magic, but it's still helpful. Yeah, pretty solid pairing overall. Finn, I don't really think provides much of anything. Kind of similar, very similar stats to Alec, a little bit more luck, but Miracle I don't think helps them nearly as much as Nihil does, and even not Nihil is just kind of like it's like a novelty. It's good to have. It's not like super good. Well, one, this pairing is kind of difficult to make. Aaron joins at the tail end of chapter 2. You have one chapter to hook her and Finn up before Finn departs. It's difficult to make, and what you're getting out of it really isn't that much. Miracle, it's not really going to help either kid, I think, that much. Zed doesn't really need it to like reliably clear the arena, and Fee doesn't particularly care for it either. She can always just use the Miracle Sword if you really need Miracle. And yeah, other units can use it, but units like Ira and not Ira, Larce and Nana, they can already use A rank swords. So they have better options. I guess Patty could use it, but still, there's not much competition for the Miracle Sword. Just difficult to get. Doesn't really provide much of substance. Madeir passes down a cost, so I think that at least puts him in a niche. Said a cost works really well for both of these kids. Said by default, if he wants to get promoted, Pursuit, Adept, and a cost is a really good combination. Outside of that, doesn't really do much in particular. Do is pretty solid. Do's always known for like very balanced growth across the board, bar HP, which can be a little bit lacking. Since the kids already have Pursuit, you don't have to worry about him not passing that down. Bargain, not as good as Paragon, but it's still useful. Allows them to more easily get the money to afford the Paragon ring to at least clear out the arena with bonus EXP. And if you're not getting bonus EXP just in the map itself, if you give the Paragon ring to someone else, that's good. And just solid stats like compared to Alec. better stats across the board, except slightly more HP for with Alec. Uh, yeah, pretty solid. Jamka, very good strength and a cost and a depth for fee before promotion. I think it's all right. Jamka and Beowulf provide the lowest magic out of any parent, so you might think that hurts said, but most physical pairings, he's going to have a base. He's going to have a magic growth of 10%. Dew provides a little bit more, 15%. Forgot to mention that. That's something. While Jamka and Beowulf technically cut his magic growth in half, it's going from 10% to 5%. So on average, one out of every 20 levels be effective, which said isn't going to have a chance to even gain 20 levels. So like 1 point of magic isn't really going to make a big difference. Yeah, solid stats for fee, depth for promotion, a cost, good strength. Yeah, it's all right. Holland raises the sword rank for a fee for promotion from B to A. And when she promotes, she's going to have A anyway, but before promotion, she can use the silver sword. I don't think that's that impactful. Like, there are a lot of characters that can use the silver sword, both of Iris kids, Seliph, Leaf, Nana, her brother. A lot of characters can use that, but the Brave Lance, not many characters can use that. She's probably just better off using that. Uh, but it is at least something, I guess. Good HP and skill, but yeah. Lewin, I'm going to say for a little bit this time. Beowulf, a cost, just like Madeir, slightly more compared to Madeir. I think it's like slightly more HP, skill, and luck, a little bit less speed and magic. Again, going from 10% magic growth to 5%, not super impactful. But I mean, cost, that's good. Even though it's not really doing much of anything else, it's enough to place it here. Claude, I think, is one of your better options just because he gives something to both of these kids. Fee, once she promotes, will be able to use B rank stabs. You're probably not going to be using like silence and sleep, but you can do things like give her the restore staff. Like your other users of restore, you got like Lana, who's kind of locked to 5 movement, has trouble keeping up. You have Leaf as a mounted unit once he promotes, but he's probably better off using his turn somewhere else, either making use of his good combat weapon ranks or just using like the rescue staff. So giving like the restore staff to her, that's pretty good. Beyond that, gives her a good amount of luck, which is okay, I guess, and a fair amount of resistance. Resistance that could be pretty good on Fee in particular because one of her main jobs is help securing the Tierfink in Chapter 10. Tina can help with that too, but her resistance is really bad against those dark mages, so this can make that task easier. And in game as well, a lot of sleep stabs, silent stabs. When with good enough resistance, Fee doesn't have to worry about those at all. Just fly over like she can fly to areas that only her and Altina get to and take down the dark mages, and she'll do a much better job thanks to having much higher resistance. So that's pretty good. Said it's really good as well. Helps his magic growth a lot. Tied with Azel for giving him the highest base magic growth or highest magic growth. Can do things again like help silence Ishtar, which is useful to be sure. Also just helps with like stabs in general. Can pass down any staff to Sed, although because you don't get Sed to the tail end of Chapter 8, it might not be worth it. You might want to pass some of them down to Ideen so you can have them sooner, but that's still an option to have. This allows Sed to use A rank stabs, so rescue. Rescue's probably not super impactful unless you do the Azel slash Ideen pairing as well. Then you just have Azel give Ideen the rescue staff, then give it to Claude so Claude can pass it down to Sed. You can get it 1 chapter earlier than you normally do. You can then give it to Leaf for right chapter 9. That helps. And Fortify, which is, I mean, that could be a free level up. That's nice. And can use the Valkyrie staff as well, which Valkyrie staff isn't super impactful just because you can save after every turn. So if you make mistakes, just easy to like reload and fix that. But I mean, that's an alternate solution. You don't feel like reloading, figure out a way where like everyone can live. You can use the Valkyrie staff, maybe if you're like Iron Manning. So high magic stat plus, luck and resistance for what it's worth. I did kind of mention in a previous video about Claude with Lachesis, how it also gives like the daughter B rank stabs. The main difference here is that that parent helped the daughter, but really hurt the son. No pursuit, no physical strength. Here, it really helps the son as well, since he already has pursuit and he could really use more magic instead of strength. So I think this is a very solid pairing. And that leaves Lewin. So Lewin, there are many people who would say Lewin is best spent on a other pairing with Tail 2, so you can get Forsetti into Arthur. When he promotes, he has a mount. It's been dubbed a Horsetti. And, if you want to go that way, that's fine. There are definite advantages to doing this, getting Forsetti early, the very start of the second generation, more availability. Once you get him promoted, movement is obviously the best stat, having like a really good holy weapon on a mounted unit. If you're doing your pairings optimally, generally speaking, the kids you want to have pursuit will inherit it. So you can just have Arthur pick up the bargain man. That's something. You could say that uh, Sed's really good, like regardless. Good, really good with Claude, even good, like decent with a physical father. He doesn't really need Lewin. Arthur conversely does. Those are all fine. Those are valid arguments. Don't get me wrong. But purely in terms of a vacuum, like looking at what is the burst for these parents without looking at any other, without factoring in like other potential pairings. If you don't think it's Lewin, then like I don't know what to tell you. Big draw here is, of course, Forsetti, an amazing tome. 30 Might Tomb, plus 20 speed, plus 10 skill. Allows Zed to just become like an unkillable machine. Nearly unkillable machine. Very good against handling like tricky bosses like Arion or Arvis in Chapter 10, or like the Pegasus Trio in Endgame, or Ishtar Self, since I think Wind has an advantage over Electric, has a good matchup there. Very good. Beyond that, he can pass down B rank stabs to Sed if you feel like going that route. Really good speed. Uh, Honestly, kind of overkill. There is like glitch where, depending on what patch or translation you're doing, it overflows, so he just has 17 base speed. But given like 105% speed growth, he'll still cap his speed regardless. And if you really need speed in the short term, there's again Forsetti, huge amount of like speed burst. So there's that. Um, Plus, just provides skills. Set already has adept, but getting adept for promotion, I mean, that is useful. She's often going to be using the Brave Lance, which is just treated as a lance that always triggers adept. But if you're finding like an axe wielding enemy, you want to use a sword, it can be useful there. And critical, which is unreliable but still helpful. So really good speed to both of these kids. Honestly, kind of like overkill. Uh, Higher skill than I think like either of the other magical pairings. Um, Fee is honestly better off with like any one of like the physical dads, but I honestly think if you're going a magic route, this is the best pairing for Fee because Azel gives almost nothing. A higher magic growth, but like I said, I just consider that personally gimmicky. Like 15 base magic, not enough. Working up to like 10 magic at level 19 is somehow sufficient. Like, yeah. Claude, I mean, higher resistance, higher luck is nice, but it's not that impactful as compared to like actually getting a depth before promotion, critical, actually gaining like a skills, really good speed, HP, and skill. Now there are those who say that because in this pairing, Fee only has 25% magic growth and strength growth, this is like a very bad pairing because she's better off with physical or magic. The thing is, Claude only grants a 30% magic growth to the daughter. So we're looking at a 5% difference, 1 out of 20 level ups. And honestly, like I said, even if you're using like a magical pairing, you might use like 11 Sword here and there, but you're better off just using like a Brave Lance or still using like physical weapons on her. Really great pairing. Oh, also, it's the easiest pairing in the entire game to set up because Lewin and Aaron have a talk conversation in chapter 4, which if neither has a love for her, they just instantly fall in love. You don't have to worry about keeping them together, monitoring the love points. So being able to just instantly get the pairing, I mean, I'm not going to say that automatically makes it good. That is a nice bonus, kind of like a cherry on top. So yeah, obviously the best pairing in a vacuum. And then we have the substitute units, Hermione and Hawk. This is where it gets really difficult to just treat them as one because honestly, Hermione is awful. She has Adept. She doesn't even have Pursuit, Cannon Hair, like any lances. Uh, honestly, like, yeah, here. Obviously, Adept is better than Pursuit as long as you're not using a Brave Weapon and it always triggers. But yeah, very garbage. Hawk, I think, is like better. This gets a better set if he has a physical father, but worse than the magic, so probably somewhere around here. He has 22 base magic. There's an event where you can get 25. And if you can like play a bit more casually and pair him with Tail 2, he can get as a talk event in endgame or so that grants +3 magic on top of that, automatically get him 28 magic. So that's good. Kind of splitting the difference. I guess like here is fine. Just going from officer levels nothing to good, just kind of okay, I guess. And that's it for this video. Any pairings you think I overrated, any you think I underrated, please let me know in the comments below. This is Enigmatic Mr. L signing out.